And we're live. Hello, citizens, and welcome back to the Comm Relay. Back after a long break because I was busy and didn't really find anything to talk about on the Comm Relay. But today we're going to be talking about the state of the game. And what I specifically want to talk about is kind of the good and bad patches we had in the past, state of the game in 3.23, which is the current live patch, and what we expect from the game with 3.24, because there's a lot of major changes in there. Not just with gameplay loop, but there is also some performance stuff, some Vulcan stuff is in there, I believe, as well. So we should be seeing some interesting performance changes. They also had some networking type stuff going on in the patch notes. I'm not sure if that's going to make it into the release, but I know they did a playtest on it with some different communication stuff, which should improve stability. We don't know. They don't tell us much. So looks like actually, so Comm Relay, as you guys know or may not know, is about talking to you guys. So if you would like to join us on stream, whether today or on the follow-up streams, hey Lens Nation, and we're gonna get to you in a moment. If you would like to join us on stream and talk to me about the topic of the day, join the Armory Discord, link in description, and be in the waiting room voice channel and be ready when it's time to start the show. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Our guest today is going to be Lens Nation. We're going to see, he's a regular on the channel. He did all the graphics you can see on the screen right now. He did all of that. And a lot of other things for the channel and for the Armory. He's also the man behind the redesign of the Armory. And yeah, we're going to talk to him about the state of the game. He has a lot of insights to share, I believe. So let me get his name on the screen. There you go. And let me drag you down. Lens, you are live. Please mute and unmute yourself. I'm just gonna... Let's see... There we go.
Hello.
Hey, there we go. So...
All right.
Oh no.
I was just typing on your chat that I forgot how beautiful this UI looked.
It is, and my visualizer is not working.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to say. That's okay. You can figure it out. It's very easy to work it out. And you are the man who told me about it, and I have been using it ever since. It's such a cool little app.
There we go. Try now.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hello.
Yeah, the UI.
It's alive.
The UI
It is
great.
alive. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a very rare that you have vertical interface where you have the interactive medium, like the video you're playing in the middle. It's just, yeah, it's very nice. Goes very well with your name, Comm Relay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we were going for with the design from the beginning. And we kind of
100%.
yeah, it looks great. I could
Yes.
could not have done better
Thank you.
myself, and you know I couldn't. I'm very useless at this. If it was just like me, I would just like have my camera in there, like chat on a black square, and like some video in the background, and that would be the whole interface.
You paint with your keystrokes. You paint with your code. That's an exceptional skill to have.
I don't see this painting. I more see this shoving my will down the throat of the computer. Yeah.
Oh, whatever you say, man.
And just like that, we got demonetized.
Oh, dude. Oh, it was funny yesterday, if you remember.
Oh yeah, that was a good stream. I can't wait for more once everybody's back, because we're gonna like next week
yeah.
we're already. So for those of you who haven't seen it, Lens Nation is doing a Star Citizen D&D. So we're there's not much D&D in there. It's purely Star Citizen tabletop at this point. Simortus is doing that as a dungeon master. We're playing it on Lens Nation's stream every Saturday, but we're gonna have a break for, what is it, 4 weeks now? 4 or 5,
I think so. Yeah, we will be back. Yeah, because it's mainly Simmertus. Sim did most of the legwork.
Yeah.
He has done all the code and conversion. So it's pretty much, I would say, 90% him. I'm helping him out with artworks, bringing people together, like
Oh, I mean, you know,
dragging you, and you're
okay,
very
always,
kind.
I just see all the artwork that you do for the D&D and for your stuff, and I'm like, wow, I wish I could do. I wish I could like 10% of this. I wish I had that like creative energy.
Man, I dude, I'll be honest, like having this art inside of me, having that place that I can go to has been very, very valuable in my life. Like it's almost therapy, it's almost meditation. Whenever I just want to go to that happy place, I just draw some stuff and makes me feel good. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
No, it's great. I mean, it's great talent. I couldn't have done a lot of things without you, basically.
No, it's all good, man. You know, we talk about it. Like I have enjoyed your content for a very long time, and to be in this stage where I can call you my mate, it's just awesome.
We need to do more machine.
Yeah, man. It's just the game is broken. It's just I'm scared of doing machinimas in Star Citizen, and I'm afraid I'll lose my stuff.
Right now, it's not good. Like,
No.
that brings us to the topic of the day.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on the state of the game right now and sort of in the past?
Sorry, right now, or what did you just ask me? Sorry.
So like, what are your thoughts on the state of the game now, like 3.23, and in the past? And I know that you have only been playing actively for like 2 years now, so you had the good times, basically. What I would say.
Yes, I was wise. I knew not to play back then, and also at that stage, I didn't have a PC which could support it. I really had a great time just before the replication layer, the persistent entity streaming dropped. I mean, the patch before that I really enjoyed. I was really the grind to make money, buy ships. It was real. It was fantastic at that stage. So I have seen that. But then we saw what terrible times we had with the persistent entity streaming. It was just very bad. But even before that, we had a tough patch.
Yeah, we kind of had that.
Now,
was it 320? That was very stable, very okay.
I get confused with numbers. Numbers are not my thing at all. Being creative, like I see shapes and colors. I just don't. I watch your streams. I watch other people talk. I mean, your content, and you guys are 318 had this, 317 this, and I'm like, I have no clue which patch they're talking about. So I get very confused.
We're not making any dough. This is YouTube is not paying as much for any of this. So no.
Yeah.
We are not we are not the reason servers are slow. Not even the reason Star Citizen servers are slow, because well, I can't log in. I have been able to log in.
Yeah, I know
your
character is broken. Yeah, I know.
Not the character, it's the account. Like my account
is broken.
But the weird thing is that PTU works. So I did the recopy into the PTU and that works fine. So clearly there is something wrong with like the persistence layer in the PU. So my character can't log in or like load in, because I can't even get to the menu. It like kicks me out on the first loading screen.
Oh.
It's like the 14,009 error or something, something like that. So I can't get in. I don't know what 3.23.1 looks like since the free fly. I don't know what it's like.
Oh, dude, you're not missing much, but the lag and the desync is extremely bad. That has been the biggest problem. Like you think you're away from the ground, but you're not really away from the ground, and you just crash and die. So that's.
You showed us those clips from the race where it was really
that was at that stage it was very, very bad. That was the worst of the worst, also because it was just the patch had just dropped, I think, a week before that, and the race was also happening on the outskirts of the Lorville, which is a very hungry area. However, dude, it's just. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read what Glenda said there. No wonder why the servers are slow. YouTube made it though. That's funny. Yeah, but
so we're not making any. That's the only problem with that statement.
Yeah, well, only you know about that. But the thing is that I did enjoy the new changes and the new updates, clean interfaces. I like the new UI, the new star map. I do. I think some really good. I got used to just pressing F. I don't mind that. I think it's a great change. It's such a quality of life. It's such a small thing. So I do enjoy the good things. However, the lag, the desync, the general state of things, it's terrible, and I just don't know what's going on with CIG anymore. Like especially with the in the PTU with the new the drawer system.
Yeah, the queue's so
Why do
weird.
that? Why do that? Like
That's
it's
a whole
just
separate
confusing.
thing. But I kind of want to piggyback on what
Yeah.
you said, because
Mm-hmm.
2023 it was pretty okay up until like the free fly event.
Very. Yeah. It was
It
great.
was very
Yeah.
good. It was a very good stability patch in my opinion. And then the free fly came, and suddenly we had account issues, loading issues. We kind of had a lot of server
Mm,
crashes, a lot of lag.
mm.
And sometime around that free fly, one of the last sessions I had was suddenly like the planet surface performance like went down by like 50%. Like suddenly it was a slideshow. In my
It's
theory, there
yeah.
is. No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Mm. No, 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 no. You continue. You finish your thought.
So my theory, at least on the account and loading stuff, is that they have a lot of free fly people coming through, creating new accounts or sort of reviving old accounts, and that
Mm.
kind of pushes that old inactive or new account from some deep database somewhere where it's not readily accessible by the game to sort of like a cache type thing
Mm.
that's a bit closer to the server, and that kind of clogs
Mm-hmm.
things up because that account is now inactive again, and they don't have a way to clean this up
Yeah.
without doing a persistent reset. In my opinion, at least.
Sometimes there's sometimes the feeling I. That's not sometimes. It's all the time. The feeling I get. It's like they're making patches upon patches upon patches. Like put a band-aid and then put another band-aid on that and put another band-aid on that. So it's like a amalgamation of too many band-aids, and the system is just not coherent. The gameplays are not coherent. The things do not communicate with one another, or maybe the grand scheme of things within CIG. I worry that perhaps the departments don't communicate with one another, and everybody's just developing in an isolation. That's the feeling I get. Like, how can you get the hanger inventory that wrong? That's not
I
a
have
very
a
positive look.
I have a
That's not
video on
good.
this coming out tomorrow on like the development practices and development process at CIG. Not really touching on the communication, more touching on how they direct development and how, because in my opinion, the problem is not the internal communication or the internal planning. The problem is the release
Hmm.
process, because they are
Maybe.
trying to sort of shove squares into a circle-shaped hole by trying to have regular releases, and they're like, oh,
Hmm.
but we actually can't finish this feature, so we're just gonna put it out half done.
That's what happens. But don't you think that the problem goes even further? We go into the back of that. Like, why? How do you actually arrive at that situation where? How did you actually reach at that point that it shouldn't have happened in the first place,
I think
right?
it's sort of
What is at the
a.
core of that?
I think it's partially sort of a high management and PR
That's what I'm
effort
trying to
on it,
say. Yeah.
because they say, okay, we've had quarterly patches for 4 years, 5 years now, I think,
Yeah.
and they were band-aids for band-aids for band-aids. Yeah. So
Yeah. I wanted to put it in there in text.
yes, it's a good sentence. So I think they would they kind of got used to that process, and it was working for a long time. It was working. They could actually
Mm.
get features out, and they would be like, for me, a great example is refinery decks. They did not make their original release. They got pushed by one release, but everything was done. And when you think about it, refinery decks have not been changed since release. And for me,
Yeah.
that's an example of a feature well done where they did it and they don't have to touch it now. That's something nobody has to worry about. They just tweak the values every once in a while to balance the economy, and that's it. And I
Don't even go there, man. You know my thoughts on economy.
well, what can I say? The economy rebalance that was supposed to be in 324 was quietly removed during Iwakari.
It's not. So you see, I love Star Citizen. It is the place where I am the most creative with my machinima, with my storytelling, with my artworks, and I love it to the core. And before I say anything else, I will say that if this game does not come out, or it fails to exist, it will be a death of a million dreams, including mine. I need this creative sphere. My son needs this creative sphere. It's a good game. It's a positive game. It's so much better than the really bad products that exist today. So this needs to become real. This needs
We can always
to.
go back to Elite Dangerous. It's fine. Not the same.
Can you do? I can't make these kind of machinimas in Elite Dangerous. I don't think so.
I like their camera suite. I like it.
Okay, but you see, like walking inside the ships. That's very important.
That's the
So
only thing they're missing, really. And
we need.
I think they said that they're not gonna do it.
No, yeah, they said they made it very clear that I think it's a case of tech hurdle that I don't think they can go through, because where do you stop it? You have to think about the edge cases, ship within a ship within a ship. Star Citizen can pull it off, so maybe it's a tech hurdle for them that they can't pass through, which I think CIG is facing, but they're just not acknowledging it. I really think this whole inventory system, the way they are trying to do it, is probably a tech hurdle which they're not able to solve, and they are just creating this whole situation where do not eat with your right hand straight to your mouth, bring your arm around your face, eat it from the left side.
Well, they walked it back. So
yeah, but
it's
that further. Okay, Space. That actually strengthens my point.
Yes,
They don't have the middle ground. They don't have the tech. Okay, it's either that, or it's the new one, or it's the old one. But then they were like, you know what? You whinged about it. There you go.
We're gonna do something in the middle.
Okay, fine,
I
fine.
think the whole inventory kiosk thing. I know I made a video on it. It was a very extensive
Kiosk.
video, and I talked about the different things they could do with it. And
Yeah.
they picked
Kiosk.
the two bad things about the two worst solutions I offered, and they were like, "Yeah, that's gonna be our solution to this problem." And I feel like they are sort of early enough into the PTU process where they could have just said, "Well, this is not ready, so we're gonna walk it all the way back, and inventory is gonna stay the way it is."
But they don't do that, right? Marketing won't allow them to do it. I don't think so. That's the thing.
They have done it with other things in the past where they were like, yeah, it's not ready. We're gonna. They have done it with server meshing. They have done it with a lot of the persistent anti-streaming stuff. They have done it with object container streaming, where they were like, yeah, it's not really performing the way we would like. We're gonna push it, and nobody said anything. Everyone was like, yeah, thank you for letting us know.
People will understand, but I think it becomes a bit of a Hey, that's a very beautiful footage of two Gladiuses flying there.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
Like one of my ADI photo shoots where I was like, okay,
That's
let me
beautiful.
grab like 4 guys who do flight training, and let's do like some
Nice.
formation follows. And we did it with like 4 or 5 people. We did like some very nice, formation flying stuff, and we had like flyovers, that kind of stuff. And it's not even that long ago. It's like a year ago, I think, that I did this.
No, looks great. I
Like,
think
the
game
state
was
of the game over the last 6 months
was
hasn't-
very good at that time. Yeah,
Yeah,
when
like,
you did it,
just
was
like
good.
it hasn't been supportive for me to do this. And like I'm busy. I'm
Yeah.
trying to do the Armory. I'm trying to do the channel. Trying to do the
Yeah.
content. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay,
shoot that much.
talking. Talking about like economy. This is my piece. That the so-called economy balance, that the dynamic economy, what they're doing in even what they've done with the ship prices, what they're trying to do with the mission payments and everything, right? How is that economy balance? There is no dynamic in that. There is no dynamic movement in that. It's just rigid fixed prices. And you can call it the economy team, but okay, realistically, how long does it take to do that? Like all you're doing is hard data entry, this mission, this much money, this mission, this much money, this cargo run, this much money, this cargo, this much money, this ship salvage, this much, this ship salvage, this much.
So that's
Even
actually,
panel.
I think, two different teams.
That's
So
just.
I don't
Oh,
know if it's
okay.
even a team. So that's the guys that determine like the ship prices, the commodity cost, that kind of stuff, and that is static. Well, it's not entirely
Yeah, that's
static.
static. Yeah, that's just.
Commodity prices are not actually. They have like a very very small margin up and down where they move, or at least last time they were data mineable.
Oh, that notification that we get inside the game,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah,
the price jurisdiction.
yeah.
Yeah, but those are really even the profit's not there. So
No.
so I'm not talking about that. It's like if the salvage mining, ore mining, those are all hard coded prices. That's not dynamic. That's not economy balance. It's pretty much. This is what I get scared of. Ships have been made extremely expensive, which is
did
okay.
increase the prices quite a lot. Well,
Like
in 3.3
crazy,
they did,
crazy
right?
increase. Yeah, right. Yeah, before they brought the payouts down. Now the payouts have gone way down.
Yeah.
So the margin hasn't, like the gap has become so big, man. And there has to be certain reward for the time you spend in doing something,
Well, that
right?
brings me to the, because they have the
They
quantum
did talk
economy
about that.
simulation, and that's Tony Z working on that, and they haven't said anything about it for 2 years.
No.
And I'm like praying they talk about it at CitizenCon, because that's like the very keystone thing for Star Citizen. And kind of on the other side of that, they have, and they talked about it in ISC last month, I think, or SC Live. They have like the effort versus reward
Yeah,
algorithm.
but man, like
For
it's
me,
not enough.
that's the
How
thing.
much you think? How much you think you should make if you're salvaging for 1 hour? If you're salvaging panels for 1 hour, how much you should make?
For me, like my personal
Yeah,
opinion is 100,000 credits. That's kind of the thing I expect.
it should be more than that.
But it probably should be
One
more than that.
hour of your life, you're spending a real 1 hour of your life. It cannot be 100,000. It has to be. It has to be more than that. So if you're making that, and if you do the calculation, how much does C2 cost in game now?
A lot.
25 million?
Something like that.
Okay, so how many hours do I need to spend?
So, and that's kind of the thing.
So
When I
that's
talked
where it's
about
all
the
wrong.
EVR algorithm, I didn't get it from, as a software developer. It really struck me that we have this effort versus reward algorithm. But my question is, why is it an algorithm? It could have been a spreadsheet. Literally, could have been a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe it is.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think effort versus reward is not the right calculation, in my opinion. Because you have to like look into, and they said that we're looking at how much time you spend, how dangerous it is. But I think they're looking at it wrong. I think they should be looking at, yes, how dangerous is it? More dangerous things should pay you more. That's the whole risk-reward mechanics that Chris Roberts keeps talking about. But at the same time, you have to think in terms of progression, right? Because the only progression that you have in Star Citizen is, oh, I can afford more gear, I can afford a better ship. And so what I would look at is, if I have an Aurora MR, how long do I have to hand mine in a cave before I can buy or rent a prospector?
Exactly.
How long do I have to rent a prospector for before I can also rent a Cuddy Black so I can do refining? How long can I mine and refine rented chips before I can buy a Cuddy Black or a prospector? And kind of these time considerations that were... And that also ties into, I think we should have more reputation options. I think we should have more ways for the player to do an activity in a certain area and gain monetary rewards for it. So let's stick with mining. Let's say that you do mining and you go to one refinery. Like let's say you go to Arkel 1 every time. These guys should be happy that you go there because you're spending your money there and you're giving them business. So
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they
It's off the route. It's not really. Yeah,
it is.
exactly. Like in real life. Yeah.
It's not off the route. Arkell 1 is very central.
No, what I mean is it's still it's not like it's not like the Baijini point or the Area 18. You're
Right.
still going off world,
Yeah. So
a bit
I
further
think
away.
you should be getting like a reputation, maybe very slowly. Like can be a very slow
Mm,
reputation gain with that particular
mm,
station. And as
mm.
you gain the different reputation tiers, like, oh, fuel is gonna cost less, refining is gonna cost less for
Yeah.
you. And I mean, the refinery costs are not like that horrible, right? It's like a couple of
Yeah, no,
hundred
that's
credits.
okay. The refinery cost is not much. Yeah.
But like, oh
No,
yeah,
that's okay.
you get it cheaper. Like you get it, I don't know, 10% cheaper.
Hmm.
That adds up, especially if you're gonna be doing like 50 refining runs, you know. So it adds
Yeah.
up, in my opinion, at least. And
Yes.
in general,
Yep.
I think we need more reputation, and that allows you to get paid more. It works very well with combat missions. You never have people complaining about combat missions. Uh,
But they yeah, I can't say much about it because I haven't been able to do a successful bunker mission in a very long time. But
Apparently,
yeah,
distribution
because
centers are the way to go now. Apparently, those
yeah,
work.
right now something is always the meta for making money. Yep. So what I can tell you is like we are participating in Anzia Racing's event, we need to buy a couple of ships inside the game because we need to, like every single pilot or the team needs at least 2 copies of a ship
Yep.
so that you don't if you crash if you claim it
Yep. You have
you
a
don't
spare.
have to wait.
Yeah.
You have a spare, and you claim the other one, and then you take the spare and you fly out. So we've been trying to make money in the game. Skip and Thunderwolf went out. They spent, I reckon, in the Reclaimer, I think they've spent quite a long time together. I mean, the whole session, like I think 4 or 5 hours, and they were able to make 650,000. That's how much they were able to raise, and that.
That's not a lot for a reclaimer when you think about it, because I think they were
Mhm.
with a reclaimer.
They were with the Reclaimer, yes. They were doing panels, and also now you need to consider it's 2 people who did all that, and they did not split the money because all this goes to the fund to buy the ships in game. So now, if 2 people were doing that and for like 4 or 5 hours, and you're just gonna come away with 300,000, that's not enough, man.
Yeah,
That's
that's kind of the
not
big
enough at all.
problem with mission rewards right now, is that
Yeah.
if you want to do it as a group, none of you is going to really make any money. And salvage, like mining, you're not going to make money unless you're really targeting Quantanium and
Yeah.
gold, which, yeah, sure, a lot of
Mining.
people are
Oh,
doing.
yeah. See, the thing is, it used to be profitable if you did it in a group. It's not anymore if you do it in a group. And it's, of course, if you do it just by yourself, it used to be okay with that too. Like you would run the whole Reclaimer by yourself, and it's not even feasible there. Like, what's going on? What kind of economy balance is this?
Again, I'm
Oh.
actually talking about this tomorrow in a video. I think they are making features, and
Hmm.
in their analysis of that new feature, they are forgetting to look at, well, how does this feature impact players indirectly? Because when you think about,
Yeah.
like, oh, we added hull munching, uh, and it
Yeah.
broke the economy because everybody
Just do that.
just skipped all the scraping and everything, just
Yeah.
munched the ship.
Yeah.
It pays, I think it paid 7,000 per SCU at
Yeah.
release,
It was.
something
It
like
was.
that.
It was pretty. Yeah. It was there. It
And
was cool.
especially with the reclaimer, you could just go from high level salvage mission to high level salvage mission, be done in 5 minutes,
Mm.
and make
Mm.
millions. Then they were
Yeah.
like, well, this breaks the economy. We can't do this. We just can't. So they were like, okay, we made salvage missions 10 times more expensive, and we cut the price of construction materials in half. And nobody did the math and
No.
realized that,
That's.
but now it's actually not profitable at all. Like,
I don't. So this is another thing that worries me. So they do their own quality testing, don't they? So how come nobody saw that? Like, it is. How did they miss it, man?
I would actually very much like to know how CIG do their
What
internal
is
testing,
going on?
if they do it at all.
Oh. Yeah.
So here's my theory as to why the inventory kiosks were changed. So with the 323 inventory, it takes you like a minute max to put on your gear. With the inventory kiosk, with the drawer and everything, it took 3, 4, 5 minutes, because you kind of had to like find it in a pretty slow, underperforming UI, then like drag it over to the drawer, and then you open the drawer, and then you have to equip everything, and then if you change your mind, you have to like do the whole thing all over again. So I think their internal testers were losing so much time on this.
Maybe. Oh yeah, you were
If
talking
like,
about that.
spend
Yeah.
5 minutes on this, and these guys have to like, because the way I believe they do their game testing is that they sort of spin up a fresh character every time they go, right? So every time they go, they have to do this again and again and again, like 5 minutes. Imagine you have to like spend 5 minutes on gearing up like 100 times a day. I would lose my shit and resign. Like I would be like, I quit. This is like
it's just
some of you guys in the audience, you are software developers. You will understand that if I have to spend like 5 minutes every day on a menial task that adds no value, and just like I have to wait, or I just have to literally I have to wait for it, it will drive you nuts. Like if you have to do it 4 times a day, it will drive you nuts. Like me at work, if I have to wait for my virtual machine, for my development machine to start up for more than 5 minutes, I'm like, and then they shut it down. Like if you go for a long lunch, they shut it down for you. It shuts down automatically after like half an hour. So if you like your lunch is like a little bit too long, that's 5 to 20 minutes of your time that you're gonna just spend waiting, and you can't do anything. So it really adds up. This is like hours upon hours upon hours of your time over a long period of time. And I think their testing teams were like, yeah, this is hindering our work. You guys need to fix this. And they realized like, well, we're in wave 2. It's a bit too late to do any major changes, so we're just gonna like half roll back. And then nobody questioned that they're just gonna like half roll back it. Like nobody was like, why? And I feel like at CAG, nobody asks why enough. They just need.
That's probably. I agree with that. Like,
I think they just need like a 5-year-old child in every meeting, just asking why.
Why are we doing that? Yeah.
Like, and why? And how does that work? And why? And what? literally, they should do that in every meeting. Just like designate a person that's gonna ask why on every statement that's said, and I think quality of life is gonna go up from there. And for those of you asking, that person in meetings is usually me. I'm like, why? Why would I do this? Like, why am I gonna spend a week of my work on this? Like, why would I do that? That's a terrible idea.
Dude, it's just like economy, all these like it's very worrying, very worrying. Things are just not looking good. The grind seems to be becoming harder and harder, while the
with hauling missions, because they like I don't know if you saw the payouts like in the first release.
No,
it was criminally low. It was like.
Exactly.
It was pretty much in line.
Somehow I think okay, here's the thing. It feels like this is a memo from the marketing department. Make people suffer. Make it hard for them to make money to buy ships in the game. Or on the other hand, increase the prices of the ship like crazy. So people just give up and they're like, I'll just buy a ship with your real life money.
I think it's more of a conflicting.
That's what
because they get like conflicting feedback from backers. Where like, oh, everybody has all the ships now because there was an exploit in the economy, and everybody used the exploit, and now everybody has all the ships. And
but the solution to that, solution to that is, well, you can reset it to 0, but you can also, once the game actually comes out, just fix all the loopholes, fix all the money making. Whatever glitch it is, however people are making money, fix that. That's not a solution that you raise the price of the ships. Okay, you have too much money, I'm going to increase the... inflation is not the problem. Inflation would be a problem if the game was in a stable era, like all the suns were in their proper location. Going to 3-body right now.
I think we're experiencing is Again, CIG are, I think they tied their hands behind their back by having a release schedule. Because now, oh, we found an exploit. And we are unable to patch it until the next release. What I think they should allow themselves to do is hotfixes. We're like, oh, we found an exploit, the team patched it, we're launching a mini patch. It's literally going to be, patching up the exploit. That's it. And they have done this actually in the past where...
Yeah, I think they
They
used
have
to
done
do
it with
that.
like the cargo duping stuff where it was up for like
They
3
did that.
weeks and it was way too late by that time to actually fix it because everybody already had all the money. And they never... There's always like rumors that they're like rolling back some of the accounts and whatnot, but I have never actually seen anyone confirm this. Hey, Scrap or Skip, you're not late to the party. You're like right on time on the party.
Oh, here he is. Yeah.
So
You need to take over from me. Come into the waiting room.
And Bassi XK, hope I pronounced that right. Hey, hi, welcome to the stream. So I think they need to allow themselves to do more patches, do more releases. And I think as people are freeing up, as developers are freeing up from Squadron 42, CIG could actually look into putting together sort of task forces or tiger teams where, okay, here is like a list of bugs in a certain area of the game. Let's pick 4 or 5 people from different teams that this affects. Here you guys have these bugs, fix them.
I wish things worked that way, man. I really,
that's the thing.
but I don't think they do it that way at all.
As someone who works for a major software company, and that's CIG are a major software company. They're a major game company. There's no way they have how many, like 3,000 employees. There's no way to deny that they're a huge company. So.
I think the problem is they're too big. I think is the problem. They're way too big, and too many people are just not doing anything. Just like in a corporate environment, where the boss is just very heavy-handed and just too many different departments.
Then the question stays, like, if other companies can do it in the same situation, why CIG? And to be fair, CIG might be suffering from... And this is kind of a project management business perspective. I'm using my business major. A lot of companies that start out as startups and then they grow, they can have a lot of issues with that transition from a startup or a small company into a corporate environment. And Spotify is often touted as the most successful startup to corporate conversion in existence. And primary reason people do this is because Spotify literally wrote the book on how to do this. The problem is that no one has been able to replicate that ever. And every company... Yes, thank you, Skip. I will get to you in a minute when I let Lens go. So every company struggles with this, and some companies don't find a way to do this. A good example is Kiwi, which is a Czech startup, and they became big, and their corporate transition completely failed. And then they had major issues with their suppliers and their vendors, and it was a whole thing. They almost had to sell out to Ryanair after that, almost. Other companies, Meta, managed this pretty well. Google also managed this very well, but their transition happened where Google was basically too big to fail. So even if they screwed up, they could just absorb the loss and try again, even if they did. And even now, if they screwed up any part of what they do, they just have enough assets squared away somewhere that.
But however,
CIG
isn't this? But CIG is not becoming corporate. CIG is basically just growing big with numbers. They're not becoming corporate. They're very independent company. I mean, we could put this
corporate. They need to because what corporations are good at is tracking and management. They know exactly who is doing what and when, and that's what CIG needs, in my opinion. But in all fairness, in their defense, I don't have any visibility on the inside. I would love to have visibility on the inside for CIG. Like I would love to know what is going on in there, but
Dude,
we don't.
this just sorry. This reminds me of what's that new movie Julia Roberts Leave Everything Behind, is it? Have you seen that movie?
No, haven't heard of it.
Oh, that's okay.
The
Then this
last
reference
last
is
thing
not gonna
I the
work.
last thing I saw was the Borderlands movie, and look,
Bad
it
choice.
wasn't bad. It's just that
I haven't
if you
seen it, but I just heard some very bad things about it.
look,
So,
the Borderlands movie can be summed up as, if you haven't played the game, it's actually pretty good. If you
oh, okay
have
then.
played the games, then you're gonna be like, I get the reference, but the way this movie is structured doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, okay.
Like it
But what
chronologically
the
doesn't make sense
reference?
until like the last 10 minutes of the movie,
Okay.
which
The
is
reference I was gonna give is that in that movie the world just comes to an end. Everything stops to exist. Like it's complete breakdown, and there's this dude, the main character, and he says like, you know what? Like everybody says that there's a shadow government doing everything. That's the the truth is scarier than that. And she's like, what is the truth? And he says, there is no shadow government. There is no one in control at all. So imagine being a fly on the wall in CIG, and then you come out and you're like, guys,
okay.
it's a complete shit show. There's just nobody knows what's going on.
I really hope that's not what's going on. I do
Let's hope for
believe
that.
that there is some kind of a management structuring. I do believe
Hope,
someone is in
yeah.
control. I
Mhm.
just think there is, I don't know, some wires are crossed maybe, or the right people are not talking to the right people. There is just something missing somewhere in there.
There's a
And,
lot missing,
and
man.
that's how we got where we are. Also, my other theory, and tinfoil hat time.
Yes!
When
Bring the tinfoil!
this is my conspiracy theory about CIG. What was it, like over the last 2 years, a lot of game companies have been doing layoffs, like tons of layoffs. Like
Mhm,
Blizzard
mhm.
did all the layoffs.
Oh yeah,
EA was
Microsoft,
doing layoffs,
EA. Yep, they all
and
did it.
this whole time, CAG have been scooping up those developers, like MMO
Oh, you did
developers.
talk about that with me once. Yes,
I
yes,
talked
yes, yes.
about that on the Christmas
Yeah.
table the other week,
Oh, okay.
and we're now seeing like, oh, contested zones, and I'm like, well, that's a raid. It's literally a raid. It's an extraction shooter raid. It's like Division and World of Warcraft. And I'm like,
hmm
suddenly we have all these like developers and managers from other MMOs coming in into Star Citizen, and what if like these guys are like pushing for the features that they know in an MMO, because they were like,
hmm
because we're suddenly having a lot of employees, because like a couple of years ago the core CIG team were people who were there from the start and were doing it because they liked the idea, they liked the project. But now as the company's growing and they're hiring more people, they're kind of bringing in people who are just game developers, and they just kind of like do the thing the management tells them. And I think maybe that's the problem, that there is no pushback on that development level, because
Who knows?
it's in every company, right? You're gonna have
Yeah,
developers who are engaged in the
yeah.
projects and they will ask questions, and then you have developers who are there to write code, and both are fine. Like if you're a software developer and you're just there to write code and get paid, that's perfectly fine. That's your prerogative. Uh,
Yeah.
but for something as important and as artful, because Star Citizen is art, is a very curated experience in my
It's
opinion.
very, very.
You need people who are passionate about what they're doing, and people who care about the quality of the result. People who play the game. People who are like, you know what? I have been working on this for 8 hours today, but I'm gonna log in. I'm gonna go do some mining after work. That's the kind of people you want for this, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Wow.
That's wishful thinking on my end, I think. Lynch me if you will.
Well, no, no, not nothing at all. I'm just also talking to you, and my son has somehow acquired an FHC Lightning, and he's showing it off to me. He's
I
come
suspect
back.
thievery. I suspect Grand Theft Spaceship.
I don't know how he has acquired it. He's just showing it off to me in the game.
The authorities have been
Um,
notified. The police are on their way.
no, but see, again, we can. it's why we are like why I'm so negative or coming up with these thoughts. I come from a place of love. As I said before I started talking about it, that I really want this to be fruitful. I want this to come out in the open, and I want this to be
I
successful.
think that's a lot
And
about it.
and when they don't do the things the right way, and they just make these kind of very basic mistakes, which even people like me who are not developers can be like, why? How can you get this wrong? Like, I think if anything, people are being not that critical of it because this is a critical mistake that they have done with the inventory system. That's not how you want to implement it. That whole thing is it just hurts quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think
so the state of the game is not good, man. It's
let's hope.
worse
Fingers
than
crossed for
worse
324.
than worse than before. I don't know what Pack is saying there with those police icons, but oh, the authorities have been
They're
notified.
coming for
Yes,
you. They're
okay,
coming for
yeah,
you.
okay, understood. Well, who knows, man? But it's been
If
really
nothing
great talking to
else,
you about this.
if
Yeah.
nothing else, I think 324 is gonna be a very stable patch. Even if the features
Uh,
don't work out,
mhm.
yeah.
Okay, let's really hope for that. Can I suggest one topic for you? Like
Go ahead.
couple of topics for you for your next
Okay.
streams. Like one you have to do on conspiracy theories, like Star Citizen
Oh yeah,
conspiracy
Star
theories.
Citizen, Star
Let's
Citizen conspiracy. That's actually a good idea.
and let's start with Skip on that one. Skip should be your number one caller on that. And of course you need to do one about the CitizenCon. Like
I'm
what are we
gonna.
gonna get fed at CitCon this year?
I'm sort of because I'm going to CitizenCon, so I'm
Yeah, you
sort
are.
of considering because I'm gonna be in the UK for like the almost the whole week before because I got some doctor appointments and that kind of stuff in London, and then I'm going to
Hmm.
Manchester. Uh,
Hmm.
so I'm sort of considering doing like a pre-CitizenCon Comm Relay where I'm like gonna be sitting in my
That's
hotel room.
nice. You should definitely do live streams from the sitcon as well. You should.
I will see how that
Be
goes
very
because
cool.
from previous years we know that like the Wi-Fi coverage is not great at the venues.
Mm.
Like, we didn't have a problem at the booth because every time at the booth we bring our own Wi-Fi for the booth. Uh,
Oh,
so and we will have a booth this year. ADI is gonna have a booth this year. So
oh
uh,
yeah, yeah.
so I will see. I will see how that goes. I will kind of see what I'm gonna do at CitizenCon. If I'm gonna be like helping out at the booth. If I'm gonna be, you know, we'll
Hmm.
see. It's kind of all up in the air, but definitely there's gonna be a sitcon com relay.
Do
Kitty cat,
that.
hello.
Yeah,
All the cats
do that.
today. Yeah, my cat is so dangerous.
100%.
Uh,
Hit the
anyways,
cat.
I don't know where the cat is actually. I don't think she's
That's
here because
nice.
I have the fan on and she doesn't like when the fan is on.
Oh, you're. Yeah,
Anyway,
well,
so thank
cats.
you very much. I believe you have race training to get to.
Yeah, I'm waiting on. Yes, I am on Grim Hacks. Skip will be. I think you'll be talking to them, and
We can talk
We're
to Skip.
supposed to join up, but nobody else has showed up so far. So yeah, now please have another
Absolutely,
caller
I'm
as
gonna talk to
guest.
Skip, and I think he's gonna be
This
our
was
last
pleasure.
caller for today because we've been whinging for an hour, dude.
Oh, it was a good whinge though.
It was a good whinge. Every once
It
in a
was a.
while you need a good whinging session. That's my whole thing.
Oh yeah,
For some reason I
yeah.
just decided to do them live.
Get it off your chest, right?
You
All
gotta say
right.
something embarrassing on the internet always.
This is all right then.
Thank you
Well,
very much. I
thank you
hope
so
to see you
much.
at the next one and have a good one. Good
Cheers,
luck with
man.
the race training.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye everyone.
So, uh, why? Since we have a bunch of new people in the chat, if you don't know what a Comm Relay is a live show where I talk to my viewers, my subscribers, my Discord members about things in Star Citizen. Today we're talking about the state of the game. Lens Nation is a very old friend, so we kind of got off on like multiple tangents in there. That's why we talked for an hour. But if you would like to talk to me about the state of the game, join the Armory Discord server and join the waiting room, and I will pull you up and we will have a quick conversation about the state of 323, the state of the game sort of in the previous patches compared to 323, and your expectations for 324. But now we have a caller waiting. We got Skipster coming in, so let me get your name on there. I really hate that I have to do this manually. There we go, Skipster, and let me drag you in. Skip, you are live. Please mute and unmute yourself so we can hear you. So if you just right-click on your name and the channel, mute and unmute, and you should be good to go. Skip, you there? There we go. There you are.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. It wouldn't unmute, so bit odd
yeah,
there.
I think I have to do because I have to do like a server mute and unmute on you because the channel permissions, Discord. Basically, I have it set up so that people can't just drop into you on air and start talking, so they don't interrupt the
No
stream.
problem.
Yeah.
You missed my X-Files theme tune playing, or my me humming it, and me saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the verse.
Thank you and welcome. So, Skip, state of the game. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh dear. Well, I'm going to try not to. You've said a lot, and so's Len's. Yes, I'm going to start with saying thank you, devs. You're doing a wonderful job. Yeah. Management, not so much over the years. The big issues there. Speak from experience, having worked and developed quite a few multinationals and worked in several sectors I can't talk about. But the people factor comes into this. You got to think about those who are very gifted in creating what we all enjoy, and then unfortunately, as in all corporates, you have often management systems, and lots of those people aren't really very good at what they do.
So
that's my summary of it.
Since you have experience on this, so do you think CIG are a corporate structure, or they should transform into a more corporate structure, or what do you think about their
they're a corporate structure, but they're struggling with, and I'm sure Chris, I've never spoken to the guy, but I'll make an assumption. I'm sure his intentions were good with what he wanted to do and pulling us all in all those years ago, all putting all this money in, which we're still doing. But I think that a lot of the original energy and feeling, and I won't say I haven't lost my love for the game, but the original love for the idea, it's changed. I think that was inevitable because corporate structures change and they need to change as this develops. But if they're not careful, it's just going to become another game to a lot of people as they join. And that's not what I want, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree that's not what we want. So somehow they have to find that balance. Jared tries. He obviously loves it, but he's employed, saying they've spent too much time on the design and the graphics and the art, however you put it. I can't remember the exact quote in the recent.
A lot of people don't like Jared. I like Jared.
I like him.
He obviously has a passion for the game and creating kind of the ISC and SC Live, and like he managed putting together their set, the Connie set on there, and that it just shows so much passion and interest for me. That
it does. I don't always agree with him, but and hence probably never. That's the reason he's probably never chatted. But good for him. I think that he's keeping it rolling, and I suspect it's not an easy task.
No, I hope to meet him at CitizenCon. I hope to have a short conversation. Same with Chris Roberts. I have some high-level questions for Chris Roberts as a developer. One of those things is kind of the company structure, because they did have, I think, 2 or 3 development restructures over the last 4 years, where they went from whatever it was before to teams, and now they went into pillars, and now they did it again, and I would just like to know kind of what is the motivation there, if it's working out, if it's not working out, high-level management stuff. For me, it's...
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, that the ethos is probably still there. The original, they probably remind themselves occasionally why they all started this.
Yep.
But unfortunately, as these things grow and the money comes in, and there's a lot of money coming in, and they're spending a lot as well, of course they are.
Cat has arrived.
But they forget, unfortunately, and this is all too true, and I've seen it through industry where, of course, people's motivations are the money. They've got to pay their bills. But let's remember why we all started this. And Chris, if you happen to watch this, let's remember why we all started this. And there's a lot of us out there who were there for the project. And we don't want reward, but I think that you've got to somehow be very careful not to go down this rabbit hole of yes, the corporate infrastructure needs to exist to make it work. Yes, of course it does. And a lot of people don't get that. It has to exist to make this work.
We haven't, as a species, figured out a better way to direct that many
No.
people to do a thing. It's unfortunate, but it works. And until
Yes.
someone figures out something better, we are kind of screwed and stuck with it.
Yes,
Yes,
but that
I
doesn't
know you
stop.
want pets.
Yeah, that doesn't stop people stopping constantly to say, "Let's remember why we're doing this." And if you haven't got that ethos, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, so, and maybe that kind of ties into my tinfoil hat theory that, we have devs coming on from other MMOs and they're kind of trying to impress that other MMO onto Star Citizen.
Definitely.
That's kind of what it looks like to an outside observer.
Yes.
But at the same time, internally that might not be true. They might just be like, well, let's add some MMO features because it's an MMO. And then they just kind of look to what is an MMO feature and they're just like, yeah, okay, we're going to do contested zones.
Oh, there's certainly a lot. And I try and remind people, you've probably seen me do this, is that this is all a test. There's no guarantee what we're doing now will be there.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a lot of things coming in that I don't like. Of course there is, but then you have to speak up. But that's, I think, maybe also where it goes wrong is I know they say, oh, go to Spectrum, say what you think. Well, we know how that works sometimes. I've experienced that myself. Is that you have to actually be able to raise those concerns. It seems to me that often the corporate view, and I'm going to pick on the recent competition for the ships, is if you've got moderators within Star Citizen who are saying, oh, this is the editor's choice, I'm using the wrong phrases, then unfortunately that's highlighting that ship unnecessarily. And I think that is because of marketing. They want to bring people in, they want to highlight different things, they want to promote what they want to promote, all part of the corporate system. But it falls down for me because that isn't really community. So they have this balance they're trying to make, and it's so difficult. On a positive note, there's lots of great things coming and things I'm looking forward to as they work through it.
Absolutely.
But let's not kid ourselves. It's not weeks away, it's months away and years away for a lot of it.
I mean, look, a lot of people are saying, bad things about hauling missions. I love hauling missions. It's fun. Like, it's a new gameplay loop that I actually can do because I have the ships for it, and it's very chill. I can do some screenshots while I do it, record some footage. Because for me, I as a player, I really don't have a whole lot of need to chase profit. I just kind of do it because it looks nice and it's fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. And all of us have got those different variables. I dropped into the PT, which I've not done for years. I paid a sub because I wanted to have a look. I couldn't wait any longer. And there was lots in there I was enjoying. Yes, it was buggy, of course it is. But I was moving stuff around and saying, oh, yeah, I could imagine how it was going to be. And I did some cargo runs. It was good fun.
An interesting thing I have seen people do, and I have tried this myself. So you can buy seats, you can buy couches, you can buy chairs and stuff. And you can snap these to cargo grids. So what you essentially can do is turn any cargo ship into a dropship.
Yeah, I'm laughing here because I'm thinking of all those with dropships who are probably saying, oh, I don't know whether I need this. Actually, I think someone did a video saying, do I really need my dropship anymore?
Someone did a video on it. They also actually, back to the best in show thing, I read on Spectrum because they have the F8 in the selection there. And someone pointed out that if the F8 is in the top 4, they have to sell it. But it's not for sale. It's a limited ship. So are you kind of screwing everybody who did the platinum event and the gold event?
It sometimes feels like that, and I haven't got an answer because I don't know whether they are screwing us over.
I don't know.
For money, or whether it's just poor management or poor. I don't know. That's the problem. Yeah.
So I've been kind of in the Star Citizen community for years now. I've been doing YouTube for almost 4 years now. Before that, I was doing screenshots and machinimas and that kind of stuff. Back then, the CIG community team, yes, pack Caterpillar full of seats. It's your economy alternative to the Starliner, essentially.
Yeah.
So back in the day, the CIG community teams, they were very active, very involved with the content creators. Now that community team has, in my opinion, upgraded to that corporate structure where they are treating this as a product PR team. and it's good on one hand because they are doing a pretty good job of kind
Yes,
of
they
doing
are.
PR and
Yeah.
doing social media and that kind of stuff. On the other hand, I feel like they're losing touch with a lot of people in the space. They're losing touch with a lot of smaller creators, and I'm not trying to do a pity party for myself. But they're kind of losing touch with a lot of people, even people who are bigger than me. They're kind
Yes.
of out of sight from CAG, especially if you like. I understand that CAG don't want to interact with me because I am often critical of what they do, and they don't understand that I mean well, and they also don't understand that about 2 years or 3 years after I say something, they actually do it the way I say it.
Oh, I agree with that because the same situation here. Yeah.
So, but I think that's good. On one hand, it's good because they're doing good PR, good social media. They're trying to manage the community in a professional way.
Yes.
But losing touch with that community is not a good thing. But they still have a lot of opportunities to fix this. And I fully understand that because they hired a lot of people for the community team over the last 2 years. So I understand that it takes a very long time to build those relationships, especially in a game and community this size, because it's a whole project. You have a lot of people doing different things around Star Citizen, so it's difficult to get to know these people and figure out kind of where they fit into the global social media strategy and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I
they've got a
respect that.
huge, yeah, they've got a huge problem, and I agree with you that part of it comes with the territory. But and a lot of the, won't go into individual streamers who they favor, and of course they favor them because actually, whether they're paid or they're unpaid, let's say they're unpaid, but they get revenue indirectly. The corporation are using them to promote the product, and I've often raised this, and I've fallen out with people for doing so. Is that's good? It's bringing money into the game we love. It's keeping that going, but through that very process, it creates alienation, not just within for those streamers with people like myself, but also with those longer term backers and all backers, because it's all about the marketing. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. We've lost that. I can't even think of a word to phrase it properly, but we've lost that, I don't know, feeling of family. That's what I've lost.
That's
Chris,
a good way to put
you've
it.
lost me. I've lost that feeling of being part of your Star Citizen family. There you go.
So we kind of strayed away from the state of the game to kind of the state of the project. But let's go back to the state of the game. So 323 currently is not great.
A mess.
But I think we can agree that it was okay up until the free fly. Like 323 was very okay for me. And then free fly happened, and then I can't log in.
Oh yeah, we were all having great fun. We were dropping in occasionally. I'm not a regular player, but I drop in and try and play with people I know and try and help out. And it was good. It was okay. It was working. Yeah.
And I think, considering, because we had, I don't know, were you around for 318?
Yes, oh yes. Been here since the beginning.
So
all my children have grown up now. They're no longer children. They're in their 30s.
That's kind of the thing with a lot of Star Citizen backers. We have people like you. It was like, oh, when I started, my kids were small, and now they're like.
I knew them all by first names. You could talk to Ben and all those. Actually, I watched his stream last night.
And for me, it's like when I bought Star Citizen, I was literally bored out of my mind in a college lecture in my freshman year in college. And I was bored out of my mind, so I bought Star Citizen. And now it's 7 years later, and I have a master's degree. I'm a senior developer. I have a career. I have an apartment, and I have a cat, and I have all these things that I didn't.
Still here though. You held the line, Yeah.
So for me, it's just like a crazy thing to think about it. Where like so much stuff has happened in the game, like with the game, but also like I have grown so much as a person. And then I look back to like my first, and we were talking about this on stream yesterday with Lens. You look back like to my first videos, and you can like tell like, oh, I was recording this with like my headset microphone, and the footage is kind of like it's like 310, 312 footage in there, and my original accent is showing, and then you go forward to like this show, or the recording of this show, or you go to any of my videos now, it's like, oh, like the audio quality is great. I have expensive equipment. I got all the foam behind me. I got all the lights. I still have an accent. It's just not as bad as it used to be. But
no, we've all changed and we've all grown through this,
and the project has to. And that's good.
The game and product. I mean, the you're saying about the images, you're saying state of the game, but I think we have to give credit where credit's due. There was a moment when I went to the PTU and it wasn't a Vista or a ship as such, but I went down to the hangar and I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it or haven't watched the videos. There are people out there deliberately not looking. I went, wow. And yes, there was sound bleeding through where it shouldn't, and I actually went, wow.
Yeah,
and that's what keeps me bringing me back.
So with that being said, so we talked about 323. So compared to the past patches, so we had worse patches, we had better patches. So you think is 323.1 the new 318, or was 318 worse? Is my question.
No, 318 was worse.
318 was worse.
I think
one could log in. No one could log in. For
no, I think we can give credit to those working on this. That for all the other issues we know, is that, and the ones we don't, is that they are working to try and fix it. They do seem to be working through it quite quickly. And in the PTU, I noticed that there were patches coming out regularly. Yeah. They were solving things. It was improving, and I think there's hope. I think it goes wrong where, and I'm going to see you at CitizenCon, so and anybody else who wants to meet me and meet us. But I'm tempering my expectations. I'm thinking, sadly, there will be an amazing release of some form. But the substance behind that, I think I'm going to say, I know will come one day. I'm really not expecting to see something I can jump into and go, oh, isn't this wonderful? It's an alpha. I know that. But please stop dangling these carrots. Try and be a bit more honest about it. You know,
my expectations are we might have a Squadron playground like we had the Pyro playground last year. So we're going to be able to play a little bit of Squadron. They're going to be like, we're targeting Squadron 40 to release for Q1, 2, 3, 4 next year.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think there's going to be a 325 patch. I think they're going to need a CitizenCon patch to do IAE and all that stuff, and they might as well just do a full patch for it.
Yeah,
and push out a bunch of fixes. But to actually piggyback on what you said earlier, in CIG's defense, they have really improved kind of their release process and their sort of like the pre-launch checks, let's call it, where generally speaking, when a patch goes live, first couple days are kind of rocky because a lot of people are coming through and there's a lot of data going around. But 2 weeks in, you can log in.
Yes.
The game loads just fine. You can do stuff. It's not, the 318 where they put it out and no one could log in. Like no one.
And they have learned from that. They were slow to learn, but they learned from it.
Well, 318 was a big wake-up call for them, I think. And it was 318, and then they did 320 or 321 was also one where they had a lot of issues at launch where literally the persistent database just didn't work, and they had to roll back and try again.
Like the recovery system in the PTU, it worked. And it was quick recently, and I'm going, no, we've obviously not got a lot of servers running. Well, I don't know, I'm guessing. In comparison with live, not a lot of servers running. But, it was, and yes, I know they spoil them up and all that before anybody says, oh, it's not true. I'm just trying to keep it brief, really, is that it worked. So they are fixing those things and you can physically see them being fixed. But of course, people who can't experience that, I know it's just gone to open, but they're going to be saying, what the hell? But actually, they are. So there's this disconnect. I just want to add, for years I was saying you've got to have a multi-tiered testing process which people could access. For years I was saying it. And everybody, nobody, nobody took any notice of it. What have we got? Like you said, we've got exactly that. For God's sake, start listening to some of us. We do actually know what we're talking about.
It's kind of weird, A lot of the backers, they know what they're talking, because we have a lot of backers who do similar kind of. We have a lot of backers who are in game development. We have a lot of backers in software engineering. We have a lot of backers who are developers. I built my channel on the fact that I am a developer, and I try to see what's beyond the feature. I try to think about how would I do this, not having the internal knowledge of how things are coded, but having the external knowledge of how they work, and then how I would implement this within
Life skills
Yeah.
within those environments are incredibly important.
Yeah.
And I know they've got those, so we're not going to be critical. Of course, they've got them in their business. But
Absolutely.
there's loads of us out here who have paid for this game. We have backed the game. Try and get almost swore there. And, you know, we come up with valid points, but often we're shouted down, certainly in the past, on the systems when we highlight valid points because the person reading it hasn't got those life skills.
You know, absolutely in CH's defense, and in all fairness, the game is improving. It is better. All the backend systems, they're better every patch. They very actively fix this. They have, you know, persistent entry streaming. It was terrible, but now it actually works very well.
It is. Someone asked me, someone said to me, is this a good time to come into the game? I said, any time is a good time to come into the game because every bit of money helps the project. I said, but you've got to be aware. No, you've got to be aware. You've got to wait. It's going to take time. Yeah.
You know, it's Star Citizen for me. When people ask me, is now a good time to start playing? I say yes. Anytime is a good time to start playing. Yep. It's not even about money for the project. The project is paid for 10 times already.
Yes.
But we need more players. We need more perspectives on how to build this. Otherwise, we're not going to make this better. And
they've got to listen to us, and I'm not sure they do.
Yeah,
really
and
not sure they do.
The thing I tell a lot of people who ask me if they should look into Star Citizen is expect the unexpected and have patience. Because this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. So you are going to get a lot of hours out of this game. It's just that you might not be able to get those hours in the same time frame as with other games. So when Baldur's Gate came out, for example, people just marathoned the whole thing, the 40 hours of that game. And, you know, a lot of people did it in like a week. I know I know it took me like a month because whatever.
Are you talking about the original release?
Yeah, the original release.
Yeah, I was silly there. Just to interject before you carry on with the story. I was silly there because I bought into it thinking it was a full game because of the way it had been marketed. Yeah. And I ended up in a situation where we completed the initial scenes and went, well, where's the rest? And I was a bit annoyed, and I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. I'm on my second playthrough right now, trying something different, and they really captured the feeling of D&D for me.
Good. Yeah.
In Star Citizen, you are going to get those 40 hours and more, but you know it might be over a month, because in Star Citizen everything takes longer. So you know, in Baldur's Gate, if you do a 4-hour session, you can realistically do a bunch of the main quests and you know, advance a level or two. In Star Citizen, when you do a 4-hour session, that's gonna be, maybe you're gonna boost your reputation a little bit. Like maybe you're gonna be able to do like 10 bounty missions and you're gonna like advance your reputation, or maybe you're gonna do like 4 or 5 mining trips or do a little bit of salvage, because there is a lot of Star Citizen is a very strategic and tactical game. You have to have the right equipment, you have to be in the right place, you have to have the right ship, and setting all of this up takes time, and a lot of people don't like that. I like it when it's
part of the game. Yeah,
but that's why I didn't like the kiosks, because it was just like this.
Oh no, the kiosks. I think it was you. Yeah, it was you, wasn't it? That you convinced me that actually I'd got it wrong when I watched your video, and I watched it a couple of times and went, yeah, actually, I have got this wrong. Yeah. I like the concept of what they're trying to create, but I didn't like the application of how they've done it.
I think what they did was they created the cargo elevator technology, and they just decided that, you know what, maybe this is the way of retrieving items from inventory, and they just kind of like tried to shove it into inventory, and then through backer feedback, they realized that I think it's partially backer feedback, partially their internal testing. Like I said before on the show, that it was just like wasting so much testing time, just doing this 100 times a day. So they realized like, well, maybe this is not the way to go. So I wish they would roll it back all the way, like bring back 323 inventory and kind of go back to the drawing board, essentially.
Yes.
So what they did now, I don't know if you've tried it. With the
not since they've patched and done the latest change. No,
I tried it. I see what they were trying to do, because they were trying to kind of like keep the spirit of the inventory kiosk. Like, yes, this is now your inventory access point, which I think is good from like a player training perspective. Like, you train players that, oh yes, this is how you get into your inventory now, and it's gonna be like less of a whiplash when the actual kiosks go up, because I think a lot of people had bad feedback on the inventory kiosk because it was just like the whiplash of this, like, oh, my ship doesn't have inventory now, because they actually like a lot of ships don't have inventory now. Like,
No.
you want inventory on your Aurora? No, you don't have inventory on your Aurora.
No, we're taking it away. You've
No.
got to do it different. And of course, people aren't good at adapting, sadly, you know. But then, no, I'm going to
Change is
rephrase what I was
difficult.
going to
Change
say.
is difficult.
Yeah,
That's-
change is difficult, and unfortunately, you know, those people who are struggling have to accept that
Yeah,
what we've got now may not be what we end up with, and you've got to sort of go with the flow and voice your opinion.
Look, guys, change management is a whole discipline of management. So,
Yes. So I'd
there's
like
a
to
lot
actually
of
say,
books written on change
Yeah.
management. So,
yeah, I'd actually say maybe state of the game isn't right. State of the development, I'd say, is good.
Yeah.
State of the management has issues.
well, you know, which management doesn't?
Yeah,
So,
of course.
expectations for 324. So, what do you think, in terms of state of the game, we can expect with 324? Sort of ignoring
I'd
the
hope
inventory
that,
kiosk debacle.
yeah, I'd hope that they continue to think about trying to keep everybody happy with the slow progression through the inventory system. We've got to see, as part of that, before they release some commodity system within the verse, it's got to happen. You know, very soon it's got to come forward.
I
I
was
think,
sad
guys,
to see the economy rebalance go away.
Yes.
I think that would have helped, especially when hauling is now a thing. Because when you think about it, people complain that trading is not worth it. But the problem there is that about 75% of people who do trading currently, they don't actually want to trade, they want to haul.
Yeah.
And those people are suddenly going to go away. They're going to haul.
Yeah.
And
No, they don't.
if you fix the economy, like the profit margins and the capacities a little bit, you would actually free up all the traders to do what they want. But obviously, it's a little more complicated than that. It's
Yes, of
balancing
course,
the
yes.
economy is horrible. It's difficult. Many games struggle with this.
So for the next release, I suppose my key expectation would be, don't release it if it's going to crash out and upset us all and we have no access. Just don't do it. Wait. And if you do, when you do, make sure the recovery is working rapidly. It has to work rapidly. Otherwise, a lot of us are going to be CitizenCon and saying hello to each other and then saying, see you next year.
Yeah. You know, I have high hopes because, I mean, the PTU is pretty stable. I mean, since like, Wave 1 was very okay. Then they kind of had, like, that little back and forth when they wanted to go Wave 2, where I think they were putting in some of the network changes, but it didn't quite work, so they rolled it back to Wave 1. And now I played the Friday patch yesterday, and it was okay. It was pretty okay, I think.
I haven't tried for the last day. I think they'll pull it off. I do think I'm going to be confident
I think
rather than as negative. I think they will pull it off.
I think we are going to get a little 324 live in the 3 weeks from now, possibly.
Yeah.
I think that's realistic. I think they might actually... Yeah, I think they're going to, like, aim for, like, mid-September for this. But we'll see. But yeah.
But don't. This is silly because we know there's so much changing and everything has a knock-on effect. And as a developer, you know that. But equally so, it is an alpha, yes. But people also now have an expectation of being able to play, and a lot of people have come in who want to play. So you've somehow got to balance that without shutting the system down. Does that make sense?
I mean, for me, you know, it's alpha excuse/justification doesn't go very far anymore.
No, not
because,
anymore.
You can either be an alpha and behave like an alpha, or you can be what CH are trying to do, where they're pretending to be a real game. Or they are a real game. It's a real game. You can
They are a
play
real
it.
game, yeah.
It's just that, you know, they say, oh, it's an alpha, so it expect it to be broken.
See-
But at the same time, they're like, oh, you can hop in right now and do this.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Actually, I'm going to give a flip side here because, you know, Starfield, which was a lot of controversy over that, and I bought it because, you know, it's sci-fi. I like space games, and the initial way it was working I didn't like, and this and that and the other. But I suppose my point is, rather than picking on fault, is in a comparison with where we are with the alpha, that has continued being developed. The modifying of it is available. It was supposedly a finished game. Of course it wasn't. Most AAA developers no longer create, which is wrong, a finished game. But Star Citizen is almost at that same point. It's not, because it's far more complex, but there are aspects where it is. And there's a disconnect,
I mean, the way I judge releases in Star Citizen is, and that's my testing flow for PTU, is, am I able to log in? Am I able to load into the game? Am I able to pick an activity, complete this activity, gain the reward, and then follow up, like repeat? And how long am I able to? That's how I judge Star Citizen releases. And 324, as it is in the PTU, it passes the smell test for me. Like,
oh yeah, I agree with you.
Absolutely. Sure, it is performance is a bit hit or miss depending on time of day and which server you get. It crashes sometimes, but it's better than what we've had for the last 3 years. And even though the inventory kiosk stuff was what it was, there are other things that are interesting for me. Cargo management, persistent hangers.
Yes.
It's very interesting. So I think it's going to be a good release. I think they also, if you read the patch notes, you see that they're actually fixing a lot of backend stuff. You see they're fixing a lot of old bugs even.
Yes.
Which I always like to say. I like to see when they fix old bugs. Because there are things on the issue. There's like 12,000 things on the issue council right now. Some of those things are 5 years old. So
yes.
And some of those things are already fixed because they got superseded. That happens. If you ignore a bug for long enough, you're eventually going to supersede it. It's how it works. I've seen it happen in many companies. But they're fixing some of the old stuff that's been bothering people. Now if they just like fix some of the new stuff like towing and refueling, that would make me very happy. But we had who was it? I think we had Yogi Klatt saying that we dropped the ball on towing because they forgot it exists, which understandable. They broke it. they broke it.
It's
like
definitely broken. I lost $500,000 with a friend the other day, and it was stuck below Orison. I said, "Oh, come on!" I said, "I'll get the towing ship out because it was available."
At least they admitted it. Like at least they said, like, we forgot it exists.
And it didn't work, and I think I might have pressed the wrong button because the stupid lift's in the wrong place, and I fell out.
But that's okay. It's okay. They're going to fix it eventually. I don't think they're going to make it for 324 because I think Yogi Klatt said that there are some considerations for towing as a part of master modes that they haven't included into master modes, which again brings me to my question: did nobody ask why at the design meeting? But we all know that they totally ignored the existence of non-combat ships with master modes. Like non-combat ships who? Like,
yes,
we have non-combat ships in this game. There's no non-combat gameplay.
They didn't realize, even though that's
they kind of forgot. Game. That's okay.
That's what a lot of people like.
But to be fair, lore-wise, every ship is a combat ship because every ship has weapons in case Vanduul attack you. But I have some problems with that from a lore perspective. But I'm gonna ask the lore team when I'm at CitizenCon about this.
Yeah, you'll have to say. Yeah.
Anyway, so any final thoughts on today's topic, Skip?
As ever, Star Citizen makes me laugh. It makes me cry. But I held the line, and I'm still here, and I'm enjoying everybody's company. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. At any time, I love to have you always bring interesting perspectives and prevent
I'll
me
always
from
be different.
talking to the empty room. I like. I don't think you're difficult. I like having guests with diverse opinions because I always say this, like I like talking to people who do different things than I do in Star Citizen because it helps me make better videos. It helps me get other people's perspective because I often listen to what Lens has to say or what you have to say or the guys I go on the captain's table with and they say things and I'm like, well, I didn't think of it that way. And then a couple weeks or months later I'm making a video and I'm like, well, but there's, the perspective this person shared with me. And, well, and here's, another 3 minutes of video where I look at it from, and that's good for me. I like
it. It is because you said to me the other day, you said, and it was jokingly, so I'm going to qualify this. You said, "Am I an influencer or something like that?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yes, you are an influencer because you've influenced me to change my mind." And I think that's the difference. Is some people that know me in the past do consider me disruptive to the conversation, but actually, no, I'm having a conversation about how I feel with my view, and listening to others in the hope they change my view or I change theirs. That's what a conversation is meant to be, and sadly, some don't see that. So you're doing very well, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. That's what this show is about. I am here to talk to people. I'm here to talk to people about their opinions because I want to hear what my subscribers think. I understand that, you know, if you are my subscribers, you probably agree with the things I say. But if you don't, I want to hear about it. I want to hear people say, "Oh, you know, you kind of glossed over this bit, or you kind of forgot to look at it this way." And I'll be like, "Oh, that's actually a very good point. Thank you. I will probably include this in the video at some point."
I think you're spot on, but sadly, you know, it's not the wrong word. Sadly, I think you're spot on, but I think people can misinterpret us discussing the issues with the project and not understand where we're coming from our observations back as a backer and with our experience. That doesn't mean to say anybody has to pay any attention.
Absolutely.
But it is part of the conversation.
But, you know, we do it, at least I do what I do on YouTube because I want this project to be good. I want this to be something I play for the next 10 years.
Yeah, well, as you know, I might come back and stream in the winter, maybe. Sort of different.
I'm very much looking forward to that. So,
which I used to years ago, and I'm working through that in a few different ways.
Streaming is,
but I want it to be different. Yeah, I want it to be different.
Yeah, streaming is a difficult, and I don't want to complain, but it's difficult. There's a lot of technical stuff and a lot of preparation, and especially if you're me and you're not used to being on camera is difficult. Like I am sweating. You can't see it on the stream, but I am drenched because it's hot outside. It's humid. I have a fan pointed at me, so it's horrible.
Yeah, you've got a special filter on, so we can't see it. Oh yeah, I can see a bit of glistening on the top.
You can see how shiny I am because I got all the lights. So and I don't have a whole lot of hair up there. So
no, one thing I'm going to say is, and I will add to this. And yes, you don't always get on with everybody, but the community in Star Citizen, I probably say this every time, but it's a good way to finish, is incredible.
It's incredible.
I think with very few exceptions, it's been welcoming. Even those, as I'm looking at the piracy side as well, which might feed into the winter streams, but you know, from the game point of view, from following the rules and all that stuff, you know, griefers often aren't griefers because they're playing the game and all these controversy things, but the community above all, everybody, even those I didn't expect, have been exceptional. And if that's not a reason to join Star Citizen and keep the sport going, I don't know what is. Yeah,
community is what kept me in it all the years. You know, ADI and everybody else I met along the way.
And thank you for that, by the way. They accepted my application. I've just got to do the interview, which we'll try and get done today.
It was kind of a weird situation. We couldn't, like, nobody knew.
I probably upset someone.
We don't know.
I probably said, no, if it's exclusive, I'm not coming. Whereas, as you said, if it's a social account, which mine is, you know, I try and work with everybody and help out, then, here I am. So thank you. Yeah, it's worked out.
We literally don't know what happened. We spent a couple hours on it with a couple of guys, and we were just like, we don't know.
No, it was me. I'll blame myself. Yeah, I upset the moderator and said, "Nope, not doing that. I'm going."
It's okay. Anyway, Skip, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. I think you have a racing training or something with Lens going.
Yeah, I'm taking the A2 to Grimhex, and I'll be watching out for pirates.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You're free to go again. Thank you for joining us and talking to me, and hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.
Cheerio, space. Bye.
There we go. All right, guys. So that was a longer stream than I originally expected. We're almost running up on 2 hours. So if you've stuck with me the whole time, thank you very much. If you're watching this afterwards, also thank you very much, and do consider joining us. My original format for this was to have like 10 to 15 minutes per guest, but if I only have 2 people coming in, then I might as well have a longer conversation because people have things to say in Star Citizen, and I believe not everyone gets a platform to do it, so I'm trying to give people a platform to do it. That's the whole point of what I'm doing here. And to learn. I want to learn. I want to know what you guys think. I want to be able to incorporate those opinions into my content. Anyway, with that being said, thank you all for watching on the stream or in the recording. Hope to see you on the next one. And yeah, that'll be all. Enjoy the rest of your days. Thank you for watching. Fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.